Am I the asshole for refusing to talk to my friends over a long-term joke? To preface, normally I, 19F, don't mind a bunch of mockery. It's what our friendship group hinges on. We pick each other apart like crazy and it's funny to us all, we all giggle and hug about it after. Typically if a joke goes too far, it's immediately stopped and apologized for. I love these girls like family. In the group, we're known for different things about our love, sex lives. For example, one friend is known for never dating, another for hooking up too much, etc. I'm known as the one with the bad taste. I like non-conventionally attractive guys. I've never minded this. We all take jabs at each other and it's so lighthearted that no one can really be upset about it. And #X200B. Recently, I've started to talk to another guy. He is 100% my type and my heart genuinely skips whenever I see him. I feel like I've scored a jackpot. We get along like crazy, he's so charismatic, funny, and I love spending time with him. I personally believe he's incredibly attractive in every way. The chat asked to see him as we do when we mention new guys and I was hesitant. They were already mocking a tad, go on, show us your new 3/10. But either way I did. They were laughing at every single thing about them. From his hair, to his clothes, to every detail about his face and specifics. They were pointing out every single flaw he had and ripping him to shreds for them. They were praising me while tearing him apart. Saying things like, "You're way too pretty to date a guy that looks like an insect," and, "He'd better at least be funny, because you'll have to close your eyes whenever he speaks." And I was fuming. I really like this guy. I told them to stop it. That I don't care if they generally laugh at my taste, but that pulling apart the features of a specific guy like that was unfair. They told me to lighten up, and that they were saying that because they believe I'm way out of his league and am selling myself short. And #X200B. I left the chat after days of them sending the same 2 photos and laughing at him. He was the main topic. I got a message from one of my friends basically telling me to lighten up and that she didn't get why I was so upset about it, when it had been a running joke in our chat for years. I told her why I felt the way I did, about how I disliked they were hating someone I was so interested in because they don't consider him attractive. She told me they were doing it because they didn't want to see me waste myself, and that I should go for someone more attractive. She said they were sorry I took offense, but I should come back to the chat because we all take digs at each other. I told her we never take personal digs, and instead laugh at each other generally. Her response was a shrug emoji and a laughing emoji. And #X200B. I blocked her after this and have been actively ignoring the others' attempts to contact me. I vowed not to message them again until I get an actual apology. At the same time I feel like I'm maybe being too harsh. They're right in saying I played into this joke for years, but never with a specific real-life person. Am I the asshole? Edit? Thank you for all the replies. I really appreciate the viewpoint and you're all probably right that I've potentially just outgrown this humor that we had. For the people saying we're mean girls, I completely understand if that's your viewpoint. I will say though we have never made fun of others, bar the occasional celebrity, outside of this situation. We keep our mockery to each other, or we keep us very light. For example, the girl who hooks up a lot. We don't ever comment on the people she hooks with, we comment on her doing it. She's one of the friends in the group chat and she joins in calling herself things too. We never ever make comments about people outside the chat, until this point, and I, personally at least, never seriously meant any of the things we said to one another and always took it as lame teenage joking. Same has always applied to my situation. Typically they make fun of my general type, short guys with no muscle who are very antisocial usually. Or they'll laugh at my celebrity crushes. This is the first time it's ever been an actual person that's been made fun of outside of ourselves, so perhaps that's why I feel so hard done by. People have also commented that the other girls may also have felt how I'm feeling and just didn't say anything. I agree, that very well could be the case. I suppose I never really thought about how this line of joking could be so harmful and toxic because it never was to me until this point. I hope to learn to be more aware of that. Typically if a joke goes too far, it's immediately stopped and apologized for. Not the asshole for this alone. You told them you don't find it funny. They kept on. Not the asshole. It sounds like you've outgrown this circle of jokesters. They are only measuring your value by your appearance. And you are measuring your 3/10 by his personality. Well done on upgrading your character to personality over appearance. Now it's time to find a new party to quest, adventure with. and #X200B. And not the asshole because they took this to a personal level for a specific guy and you got offended. That's fair, no one should be dragging others through the mud. And it sounds like normally they didn't, but for some reason Sense has left the chat group and they've sunk to new lows. Consider reconnecting elsewhere with some of them if you like, but they should respect your request to not tank your new mate. Not the asshole, and I don't think you are being too harsh. You have explained yourself repeatedly and they are ignoring your pleas. They are souring your crush by degrading the person you like. It's one thing for you to be the butt of their jokes, but now they are mocking a good guy they don't even know. That's the difference. You have outgrown these so-called friends. You already knew that, which is why you were hesitant to tell them about your new guy. Take some time away from them, and if they get in touch, just explain that them mocking him is not the same as having fun with you. Their response will tell you what to do next. Not the asshole. Your friends seem like very shallow people and you do not at all. It isn't up to them to decide who is or isn't good enough for you, and continuing the bullshit after you ask them not to shows they don't really care how you're feeling. Am I the asshole for trying to get my boyfriend to eat these oats he bought? So my boyfriend, 27 male, and I, 27 female, are starting a health journey, and he got a nutritional coach who is giving him a very rigid diet to follow. On this diet it says, quick oats, and when we went grocery shopping, he bought old-fashioned oats, by accident. He didn't realize this until after I had already opened them and stored them into storage bins. He now wants to buy the quick oats instead and completely throw away the old-fashioned oats. I explained to him that I'm very uncomfortable with the idea of wasting food, 3 bins worth of oats at this point that are brand new. And I also explained the nutritional value is the same, so it wouldn't matter. Besides, I'm the one making breakfast anyways since I lost my job recently, so I've had more time to do things for us and our household. He is adamant that he buy the new oats and throw out the old ones because he would rather waste $10, cost of the oats, than waste time because his time is valuable. In response to me saying I would make it anyways, he said he didn't want to depend on me and he would make it himself. I put my foot down and said we would not be wasting these oats. I'm super against food waste, having come from a refugee family and also having worked and volunteered at a food bank for years. We can't donate the oats since we already opened them, and I find it ridiculous that we're even arguing over a 1-2 minute difference in cooking time. It reached a point where he said we have fundamental differences and I don't respect or value his time and that maybe we're not a good fit for each other. Am I really in the wrong here? I told him to go ask his nutritional coach if it's that much of a difference to him, but he won't even ask him. I think he's aware of how ridiculous this is, and to threaten breaking up is really hurting me. We have fought over more serious things before and we're fine and never even brought up breaking up, so for him to take it this far is really upsetting. Update. I posted this mid-argument and things have cooled down since then. BTW, this argument was entirely over text this morning. We reached a relative compromise. On mornings I make breakfast, I'm going to use the traditional oats. On mornings he makes breakfast for himself, he can use quick oats. Alternatively, we can turn the traditional oats into overnight oats so there's no cooking time in the morning. I also am trying to be more understanding of his position. I think as someone who is trying everything they can to lose weight and get into shape, the lifestyle change and diet change is impacting us a lot, him especially. I sent him this to try and have us reach a common ground. I'll update y'all with what he says later. Don't be mad, but I posted on Am I the Asshole to get more perspectives on our argument. If I am understanding this correctly, I think your upset comes from how you feel about yourself and your body. I think that you feel like you have to follow this plan to the T or you won't get results, and you want results badly because you don't like how your body is right now. I understand that. I understand that deviating from it at all feels like a failure and you don't want any reason to fail. I also understand the anxiety and stress that comes with the lifestyle change and why, even though it may seem ridiculous to me, it matters to you, and you're right, I should respect that choice. I however do not find I am in the wrong for wanting to cook the oats for you in the morning, especially if I'm already up making breakfast, and Reddit also recommended overnight oats which can be prepped the night before, wasting no additional time. There are solutions we should have looked into besides arguing over how long it takes to make the oats, and if you wanted to get quick oats on mornings you cook for yourself, I think that is reasonable also. I just am putting my foot down at throwing away the oats. I find that to be not okay and really wasteful, and I cannot support that. I support your lifestyle changes, I am proud of you and the work you're putting in. But it also is really hurtful that you would suggest breaking up, even if you backpedaled and said counseling, over this. That's really upsetting to me and IDK how long I might take to feel better." Quote, "Not the asshole. Tell him to look up overnight oats, made with the old-fashioned ones. There are a ton of recipes and it's almost zero effort. If he won't do that, you could be kind and do it for him, but I'd take the 'teach a man to fish' approach with this. Info. Why don't you just eat the oats if he doesn't want them? Why does he have to eat them? You said it yourself that it's ridiculous for him to argue about something so silly, but you are doing the same. Many times when people argue about little things, it's a sign of something bigger that isn't being mentioned. Pair that with the fact that you have argued about serious things in the past and you might think about if he's right that maybe you aren't meant to stay together. Am I the asshole for not doing my husband's laundry every week? Update. Alright y'all. Thanks so much for the input, perspective. We talked and he's going to bring in another housekeeper to focus on laundry and help out our regular housekeeper while she waits for the loads to finish. I pay for our regular housekeeper, he pays for the laundry housekeeper. Happy spouse, happy house winking face. Also, for those of you suggesting divorce or similar, WTF. There are things you do for each other in marriage because you're trying to support one another and make each other happy. JFC. He also doesn't have to bring me coffee every morning, take me on lavish vacations twice a year to my desired destinations, treat me to nice dinners weekly, go to every one of my doctor appointments with me, or regularly take part in my interests because he likes seeing me smile. These are just some of the things he does for me. He doesn't have to, but he does. Marriages aren't transactional. My husband, 34M, and I, 30F, have been married for a year and we have a constant conflict over the laundry. We both have full-time jobs, although he works longer hours, 10-12-hour days. I manage most of our household, chores, paying bills, taking care of, training our puppy, ordering or cooking meals, grocery shopping, managing our housekeeper, gardener, etc. We have a housekeeper that comes every 2 weeks, doesn't do laundry, but throughout the week I am doing basic cleaning daily. It takes me total 1-2 hours. The thing I am trying to adjust to is frequency of laundry. Before my husband, I'd do all my laundry about once a month, apart from towels which are done more often. I have over 40 pairs of socks and underwear each, and will wear jeans, pants, tops a few times before washing them, so I don't need to do laundry that often. However, when we moved in together my husband would complain that I don't do laundry often, even though he has plenty of clothes left to wear, and I also bought him extra socks and underwear. He asks that I do the laundry weekly, and I end up doing 3-4 loads because I separate socks, underwear, lights, darks, whites, towels. The problem is he wears a lot of button-ups and expensive clothes that need special care, like no dryer, dry clean only, lay flat to dry, etc. I also have to iron all of them. I've accidentally shrunk a few of his clothes and felt horrible, so I am super careful in following instructions. It's very time-consuming for me. I'll spend 4 or 5 hours on laundry on the weekends. There are times I don't want to do it, or don't remember to do it because of other priorities, and then it'll be 2 weeks since I've done laundry and my husband will get annoyed. Lately I've been slacking because it's such a hassle for me and I hate doing it so often. My housekeeper won't do it because it's time-consuming and takes away from the time she will need to spend cleaning the house. I don't want to pay for a service to do it because it's too expensive. I asked him to just tell me when he needs me to do it, and I'll make sure to do it at my earliest convenience. He says that he doesn't like to think about it, make another decision in the day, and he just wants to have clothes always ready, otherwise it gives him anxiety. I don't like this reasoning and think it makes more sense if he just tells me so that it can ease the strain on me a bit. We've had this argument 4 or 5 times already. Am I the asshole for pushing back and not wanting to do laundry weekly? Honey, he's taking advantage of you. Stop washing his clothes. He's a grown man and if he wants his clothes always ready because of his anxiety then he can do it himself. Info. Why are you married to someone who treats you like his maid? Why are you doing his laundry at all when you both work full-time? Not the asshole, I wouldn't touch his laundry, he can do it himself or use a service, you're not a maid. Info. What stops him from doing laundry? Not sure why his laundry is your problem. Would I be the asshole for making my partner move in with his parents until he gets a job? My partner, 19M, and I, 20F, have been in a happy relationship for over 5 years, but for the last 3 years with COVID and everything, he has been unable to find a job. Since we both just graduated high school, this has not been a big issue for me as we have been able to live with my parents rent-free while we both go to college. I am making enough to afford our own apartment and have been wanting to get an apartment for almost a year now. Almost exactly a year ago, I asked him to start looking for a job because I wanted to be able to split the cost of the apartment, and I agreed to stay together at my parents' until he can find something. Flash forward to now. I'm getting really restless being with my parents and would really like to move out, but my partner has still been unable to find work. Yes, he has been applying, and I have even applied for him. He got a few offers but he didn't like any of them, too far to travel, bad hours, not a good environment, etc. He just got his bartending license, so we are hopeful that he will find something soon. Anyways, I have found the perfect apartment in the exact location we want. It has all the features I've been hoping for and is well within my desired price range, so I have decided to go forward and sign the lease and plan to move in by the end of the month. My question is this: would I be the asshole for asking my partner to move back into his parents' house until he can afford to split the rent with me? It is very much my desire to live together, but I'm also anxious about ending up being the sole breadwinner for an unknown time period if there is no pressure, incentive for him to find work, accept a job offer even if it doesn't seem ideal. I know he has somewhere to go, but I also know he wouldn't be as happy there as he would be with me, and when I suggested this to him he was understanding but expressed that obviously it's not his preference. So what do you think? Am I letting my anxiety get the best of me and causing unnecessary stress to my partner when it would cost me the same to have him live with me or not? Or is it justifiable to ask him to move out so I can feel assured that he will do his best to get a job as soon as possible? And #X200B. Edit. Thank you so much everyone for your advice and support. IDK, what is wrong with me to have been questioning myself in hindsight? And you guys have made me feel so validated on this. I am definitely not letting him move in with me, and I'm going to take the advice many of you have given on here and make him hold down a job for a few months before considering letting him move in. Honestly, I'm looking forward to having a little space to myself. Thank you again for everyone's help. I'll update you guys on how the convo goes afterwards. Rushed face. And #X200B. Edit. Okay, well, I let him know and obviously he's not thrilled with the plan, but as of now it doesn't seem to be a deal breaker and he's accepting. I've also noticed that he's suddenly a lot more prolific about applying for work. Face with rolling eyes. I'm definitely going to take everyone's advice on here though and make sure he holds down a job for a few months before I consider letting him move in. Thanks again for everyone's help and advice. Not the asshole. You're being smart. He's found all sorts of excuses to not work. If you move in together and he's not working, he has zero reason to find a job. Would I be the asshole for asking my partner to move back into his parents' house until he can afford to split the rent with me? No, not the asshole. He needs to show the motivation and ability to be financially stable. Otherwise, you'll be feeding two mouths and building resentment. Not the asshole. A job beats no job. One doesn't get to start at the top. You work for that. Not the asshole. He's had an offer and he's being picky. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to put food on the table. If he doesn't get over being this picky, will you always be left holding the bag? Info. What's bad hours, or too far to travel in context? Does he want to be able to walk to work and only work weekdays 9-5, or are these like overnight shifts with a 2-hour each way commute?